Welcome to In the Making, the podcast where entrepreneurial journeys, creative insights, and candid conversations come together. I'm Lauren, a luxury wedding planner and mentor, and business owner with over 8 years in the wedding and events industry. Each week, I'll be sharing honest advice on building and scaling a creative business, pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to thrive in the wedding and events world, and bringing you inspiring stories from industry experts and fellow creatives. So whether you're here to learn, grow, or just feel inspired, you're in the right place. Let's go. Hello and welcome back to another episode of In the Making podcast. Today we have another guest episode and I am super excited that we have got Robyn Isherwood from Encore Lifestyle and many other fantastic businesses, which I'm going to let you introduce, Robyn, because I mean, you are doing all the things amazingly. So first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. So yeah, I'm Robyn Isherwood. I am CEO and founder of Encore Lifestyle, Creative Events Collective, and RJR Consultancy. Don't know why I stopped there. There's so many companies. I specialize in bespoke luxury events around the world and started a side hustle that was a Santa's Grotto, now as a global business. And RJR Consultancy is my platform for female CEOs and anybody in the events industry that just needs a bit of advice.
Amazing. You are smashing it from what I can see online. You're absolutely smashing it. And I'm really excited to have this conversation with you today. I think I would love to just kind of start with how your journey began into entrepreneurship, because I know from a little bit of research that I've done that it's been varied and that you've had a couple of different businesses throughout the journey. So would you mind sort of sharing where it all started and sort of
absolutely
where it went?
I mean, I think I've had this in me, the kind of entrepreneurial spirit since I was a little girl. And that kind of comes down from my parents. They still work so hard. And my dad had a factory and he was an entrepreneur of the time before it became a buzzword.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, they've always inspired us just to follow our dreams and keep work hard. And I begged my parents when I was younger to work. And I was too young and I was like, please, 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 please. I just really, really want to work. I want a Saturday job. I want to work in a cafe. So I put my name, literally because I had no CV.
Yeah.
I think I was like 14. And then they called me back the following weekend because someone called in sick. And, they were like, can you come and pot wash? And I was like, yes, I can.
Love that.
And then by the time I was 16, I had 3 jobs. So I was a lifeguard. I was a manager of the coffee shop and I ran my dad's rugby club bar.
Wow. So clearly, right from an early age, you needed the multifaceted situation as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that was on top of doing, I swam 5 times a week, played netball twice a week, danced 3 times a week, piano, singing, clarinet. I mean, the lot. Like I was a highly stimulated child, put it that way, and just didn't stop. And, I was always on the go, but then at the same time, having 3 jobs at the age of 16 was interesting with the scheduling. My parents were basically just my taxi drivers for many years. And then as soon as I passed my test, they were like, just have a car, please. We are done. And so I think even when I was at school, I was so bored of like the usual proms. And I asked my sixth form if I could kind of create a committee and do a different prom. We didn't want a sit down meal. We didn't want some terrible entertainment. So I got a room rate in a hotel and organized a big buffet with no set seating. There was still tables and chairs. We had stilt walkers, 2 DJs back to back, a live band, and like all of the production, and it was epic. And we all stayed over in the hotel, and that was kind of my first like step into doing my own thing. And I ran my own P&L for that, and we made a profit. And my mum only told me a few years ago, actually, she was like, "Yeah, your head of year basically told us like it was the first time the prom ever made a profit and that the school didn't have to bail it out because they hadn't got enough money from like ticket money or whatever else." And so it kind of started there. And then I've had a very amazing career in the events industry. I went to Oxford Brookes University, and then in my second year, I won the placement at the Admirable Crichton with Johnny Roxburgh. So I was 19. And I came down to London, and I'll never forget. I was so nervous. I was so northern as well. It's like so northern, so nervous. And I was sat there in the reception, and I was wearing these like high-waisted tweed trousers and these black velvet peep toe shoes. And Johnny walked past, stopped, reversed, looked down, and was like, "Fabulous shoes." And I was like, "Oh,
I can picture this too."
Oh my goodness. And then I got the job, and that was the most incredible start to the events industry, because I saw every single part of a business, because that, you know, at the time the AC was just the biggest thing going. My first wedding, my first event, they called me because I wasn't meant to start till September, and they called me and said, you know, "Are you free next week?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's uni holidays." They're like, "Cool, well, you're going to Tuscany." And I was like, "Okay." And
we're off.
Turned
Okay.
up at Castello del Svalteno, I'll never forget. And it was £3.5 million wedding, which back then would probably be a £10 million wedding now.
Yeah, 100%.
In terms of like the whole castle was being replanted to match the flowers of the wedding.
Stop.
Every single flower bed in the castle. And I was like, oh my God. And then the marquee had been built over the top of the tennis courts, because they didn't want to take the walls down of the tennis courts. And it looked over this vineyard. It was just insane. And just rings and rings and rings of these chandeliers of flowers. And I just remember just being this kind of like sparkly eyed, like, oh my God.
You've literally been thrown straight in.
What is this world? And but it literally lit a fire in me. I remember coming home and telling my mum and dad all about it. My dad was like, "Nope, no, I'm drawing a line now. When you get married, it's a no." And I was like, "Oh, Daddy, please, I want rings of flowers in the ceiling." And then he's like, "Nope. If this is your career route, like, absolutely not." And then from Johnny's, I then went to GSP and went with Emma Gold, and learned so much more about different styles of events, very much more kind of production heavy.
Yeah.
Because Johnny was the catering side, but still design. But then GSP was big scale productions. We did a lot of film premieres. We did parties in Ibiza and Saint-Tropez and on yachts. And I mean, it was just wild, but we were like a sisterhood. We were all girls, and it was just, we worked so hard, but we played hard. So it was just this like amazing, it was just a time when that was the thing. And you'd be in the office till 2 a.m, but then you'd be like, you know, whatever, let's go out until 4 a.m. and be back in the office at 9 a.m.
And those people are your people.
They're one of them is my bridesmaid. So
okay, love that.
True family. And then from there, I took a detour out of the events industry. Not events industry. I stayed in the events industry, but wedding specifically, because that was at the turning point where GSP just went in, like the Italian weddings. So we'd done 3 back-to-back weddings in Puglia, big scale, you know, 3-day weddings. And I was exhausted. I was just kind of like, I can't deal with another one. And then we got a last minute one in for Puglia, and I was like, I can't do it. Like I was like, give it to someone else in the team, because they need to also learn how to do the international. Like it can't always be me as the junior at the time. Anyway, so I left and then took a sidestep into production.
Okay.
Went and worked for a company called Made Up. And they were doing all of the biggest production for all the biggest DJs in Ibiza and the UK and festivals and things like that. That lasted 6 months. I went from an all-girls team to an all-boys team, and I was like, help.
But I bet you've taken stuff from that.
Oh my goodness. I now know every piece of equipment that, you know, if I get a production quote, I know exactly what it is. So I learned so much from that. And so I think all of this time, from going from different companies, seeing how they ran, seeing what different things they brought to the table, learning about the club scene and the production there, and also how cheap that production is compared to what we get quoted in the private events industry. I was like, oh my God, there's a niche here. This is crazy. I was like, oh. And then kind of combining all of that together. And then my final stop off before my own company was Lillingston.
Okay.
So did 5.5 years at Lillingston. And this is kind of where the entrepreneurship really kind of kicked in. I started as a senior event producer and then moved up to then being head of luxury events. And at the time, the MD, she was doing corporate hospitality. So Wimbledon, that sort of thing. And we basically worked out how we tied the two sides to the business together, because there was a merger of the business and it wasn't necessarily like gelling at the time. You had beautiful, like at home, gorgeous events and then corporate hospitality. And it was like, yeah, how do we connect this up? And that's when I was actually given my own company in Lillingston.
Okay.
So that was Lifestyle by Lillingston. So I developed this kind of idea of taking a private event and putting it into corporate hospitality. So from your jet to, the car from door to door, essentially. You leave your house, you get a car. You get that car straight to the jet. You get the jet, you land. You have security, you have cars. You then have the hotel, you have massages, you have hair and makeup, you have this, you have personal shopping. You then have the best restaurant reservations, and then you go to the match or the game or the whatever it is. And then you have police escort, you have a box, you have whatever you want. So looking at it like a private event, that it's all scheduled from start to finish, just like a 3-day wedding would be. And there's beautiful invitations and there's itineraries around it. And it took off. It went amazingly well. My first big trip like that was the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I went to the Super Bowl.
Awesome.
And at the time I thought it was baseball. So yeah. And my brother was like, you should not have the privilege of going to the Super Bowl if you think it's baseball. And I was like, American football, cool. And that was the kind of turning point. So that was all of that. And we had 20 guests flying in from around the world, and we needed a box of 20 people 7 days out. We then needed 20 hotel rooms. We then needed cars. And then it was, Robyn, can you be on the ground? And I was 20, how old was I? 24, maybe? And I was like, okay. First class, business class ticket booked to Arizona. And off I went with my suitcases and landed, not really knowing what to expect, but kind of like, okay, we're going to run this like an event. And I have my schedules for each day and movements and cars and this from here. And this person wants to then go shopping over here. And it was kind of the start of it. And it went so well, apart from landing in the airport and
what happened?
The security coming over, me coming off the flight, business class, looking 24 and doe-eyed as if to be like, ooh, America. Hey, Mom, what are you here for? And I was like, I'm here for work.
Oh.
Come this way. And I'm like,
uh-oh.
Oh, no, not that kind of work. Like, actually not work. So that was a learning curve, because I nearly was sent on the flight back with the tickets to the Super Bowl.
Oh, shit.
Honestly, I shit myself, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. Because they started going through all of my bags, and the tickets were in the back of my handbag in the zip pocket. And I was just thinking, oh my goodness, if they find them, they're probably thinking that I'm like touting. Anyway, we got around it. I was like, I'm a PA for a family, and this is anyway, got there, well but done. Me. Considering how much,
get yourself out of a problem. Yeah, this is what we're good at,
Exactly. All the contingency planning that you can possibly imagine. But that went so well, and then the client was then like, actually, can you do my family travel? That was so seamless. So we then took on,
I see where we're going,
the family travel, and from privatizing areas in Disneyland with 1 day's notice, and helicoptering the kids out of a location because of the ash cloud, and everything and anything and everywhere around the world. And there was security, and there was this, and then I would travel, or the whole family was traveling, or he was traveling for business, and then I took his business travel, and then I got some of his clients, and then his clients' clients, and then it snowballed. And then we got to the end of a year, and I'd spent £1.2 million on hotel rooms. And that was just me calling up hotel rooms, being like, hi, I'd like to book the presidential. Hi, I'd like, will you pay me commission type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, guys, I think we need to be IATA and Atoll Protect, because this is too big a figure. That if there is an ash cloud or there is a fire in the hotel, you are screwed because you're not protected, because we were doing the flights and everything else.
Yeah.
So we bought a travel company, and then I rebranded the whole company as Lillingston Collection. So we had events, travel, and concierge. And then, so I kind of spearheaded the whole rebrand of all of that. I was then director, shareholder of Lifestyle by Lillingston. We had Travel by Lillingston, and then there was Events by Lillingston. And I mean, it was amazing. It was, I've never worked so hard in my life. I drove myself to complete burnout. But there was something in me that was like, well, it's part mine. So I'm just going to keep driving. I'm just going to keep working. Not healthy, wasn't healthy, and didn't end great, but learned the most.
There's always lessons, isn't there?
Exactly. Wouldn't change a thing in the world. I look back and I'm very lucky to have had the opportunity of running my own company. It's not running your own company when you've got senior management above you that are running everything else. Like at the time I thought, I'm running
Got
this
protection.
I'm running this. I'm not like you are. I was in this kind of like cotton ball bubble.
But what a great opportunity to kind of learn how to do that and be able to potentially make mistakes or have that protection around you.
Exactly. And advice. And, the chairmans and managing directors and owners and everything else that, and learning that you had to present your figures at each board meeting and board meetings.
Yeah.
Board meeting minutes. What is that? Like, oh, right. You want financials? What type of financials do you want? Like presenting and all of these things where I understood how you read P&Ls. I understand, and I learned to understand like balance sheets and targets and setting targets for your costs for the year. Like, how much are we going to spend on marketing and this and that? And then how much money do we need to turn over with your staffing costs to then make this a profit, to then all of that. I'd never delved into that until that point. And so I think, what I learned from that was invaluable to then my next stage and my next step. And then that's when I left, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was broken. I nearly left the industry.
Really?
I fell out of love with the whole thing. I was sick. I was very sick, and my anxiety, I'd never had anxiety in my life. And I was like collapsing in meetings, fitting. And it was just a really horrible time. And
how old were you at that point?
I was 29.
Okay.
And there was just a lot to kind of take. There was some things promised, not given. And I couldn't, I was so tired, exhausted, and anxious that anyone telling me anything negative or any bad news, it was the worst for me, and it would trigger me and and I was like, no. And I was so like aggressive in my responses and like snappy as if to like defend myself, because I was so desperate to defend myself that I didn't really know who I was at the time. I didn't know what was going on. And then when I left, again, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I was tied up in a very big non-compete and supplier non-compete, client non-compete, competitor non-compete, because as we all know, our business is based on people. Now, I had such strong relationships with all of my clients because I was doing their family travel. I was literally traveling I was doing their daughter's 21st, their 50th.
Part of
exactly.
Part of it
and however, and I say this to all businesses, however much you tie someone into legals and however much you have in a contract that they can't do something, they can't go somewhere, they can, because you can't in court stop them from earning. And you also cannot force a client not to work with them. Because if the client decides to move with them, You can't stop it.
It's the client's prerogative.
Exactly. If they've poached the client, different. But if they decide to move with them, you can't stop it. Now, I didn't actually take any clients because I genuinely was terrified of life at that point, and I didn't want to. I just didn't. I don't know what I wanted to do.
Sounded like you needed time.
Oh, I did. Then COVID happened.
Gifted it on a plate.
Yeah, literally. I was like, this is weird.
Thank you, universe.
Yeah, what is going on? I had launched, just before, I'd launched RJI Consultancy.
Okay. Oh, so that was the first.
That was the first. So RJI is the OG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love.
And I'd done it as a consultancy because I was actually taking on some projects at the time as a consultant, because that wasn't part of my non-compete. It also meant that I could just kind of take a bit of time, work out a few different projects that I wanted to work on, pick up a few things here and there, freelance for some friends, and just had to kind of find my feet and figure out. And I was like, I am never going to have a big team. I'm going to be a solo flyer. There is no way in hell I'm going to have a team like with all of that and blah, 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 blah. And here I am with 3 companies and teams. So don't always believe what you tell yourself. But I was working with Goodman Park as a director of weddings, but on a consultancy. COVID then happens. My phone stops for the first time in however many years at that point of being in the industry. And I didn't know what to do. I'd moved back home because I didn't want to be in my flat on my own. And where I live back home is near Goodman Park. And we were just kind of like figuring things out. And then my dad had just bought, really randomly, a line marking robot. Yeah. So
we don't have to go there, but I would love to know.
So basically,
why?
So he's a groundsman.
Okay.
And it basically, it has like 130 functions of different things that you can paint on a pitch. So you can have running tracks. You can have a Quidditch pitch. That is a setting. I know. I was like, that is cool.
I'm here for that.
Yeah. So here for that. And so come COVID, me not knowing what to do with myself, I taught myself how to build a website and do my dad's Instagram and TikTok and then
which was just taking off. TikTok at that point, wasn't it?
Sorry, I didn't do his TikTok. I take that back. I meant Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, old school. Sorry, not that cool. And that went viral because he wrote a message on a football on the rugby pitch, and then Manchester United got in touch and Liverpool got in touch, and they wanted NHS painting in the middle of their pitches. So off I went with him as a little assistant because you could only work with your family at the time.
Yeah.
And then when I was learning all about the robot, there was a car park function. And I was like, okay, so that's like a grid. And you can set your grid and you put your paint in, you press go, and it's all done on GPRS. And off it goes and paints. And I was like, there's something here. There's definitely something here. And then my brother is also a trained architect, but he works in set design for film. He used to work at Firecracker in events. So we used to work together all the time, which was great. And then talking with the Goodman Park lot, I was like, what if we create a grid formation that if we did hexagons and each side of the hexagon was 2 meters and each hexagon was 2 meters apart from each other, technically, as your bubble of 5 from each corner of your hexagon, you are socially distanced. And then your next hexagon is social distance from that. And I said to my brother, I was like, can you design that for me in this area, which was down in the valley, which is where we did the weddings. And there was like a river. And I was like, I can put the stage across the river.
Oh my God, I love where this is going.
And maybe we could do something. So Guy sends back the plans. And I'm like, shit, it works. And it was like a honeycomb.
Okay.
I then speak to a couple of my friends who I met in when I was in my 6-month production era. So Matty Evans, who runs NTRP, which is like the biggest touring company in the world. He does everyone. Well, he was the company that toured Swedish House Mafia. But I mean, this summer he's done everyone and anyone in Ibiza and all around the world. He's amazing. So I called him and I was like, I've got this idea. He's like, right. And I'm like, do you think any DJs would come and DJ? He was like, well, I can ask. And I was like, look, I've got a $6,000 fee. That's it. That's all we can afford.
Mm-hmm.
See who you can get. Calls me back. Right, we've got Jonas Blue, Sam Divine.
I bet they were gagging to just
everyone
be involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, that's quite, they're big names. Okay, great. So now we're doing this. We are doing this, people. And at this point, the government hadn't come out to say we could do outdoor events. So
like,
I was
I'm ready. You sat there
flying
at
off
the
the seat of my pants. And then we launch it, and then everyone's like, this is Fire Festival 2.0. And I was like, I can see where they're coming from. I can see their point of view. Yes, it is COVID, and yes, this does look a bit like, you know, we've got all these big name DJs coming to the Ribble Valley, which is like in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, sure, it was giving Fire Festival. And then we worked out a system with the bars that we did, like the French system on the beach, where you had every table has a flag.
Okay.
And then we zoned everybody into colours, and that you throw your flag up when you want a drink, and it was all table service.
Okay.
And so then, because it was table service, I was like, okay, well, we'll do bottle service like a club.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll speak to Moet Hennessy. Next thing we know, we're being sponsored by Belvedere and Moet Hennessy, because there are no other events happening in the whole of the UK. We get all of their furniture, all of their umbrellas, all of their POS from the whole of the UK.
Amazing.
And so our whole festival was MH umbrellas, the sofas, then all the deck chairs. Then we had a section that was Sipsmith deck chairs, and we had a section that was Brewdog, and then we had all of these sponsors. And then the press picked up on it, and I woke up the next morning, and it was like the UK's first socially distanced festival comes to Gisborne. And I was like, fuck, I did a thing.
This is happening.
And I was like, I've never run a festival. I was like, is it a festival? Is it? Or is it like just like a, you know, a party in the park? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing a festival.
No, it's a festival. It's happening.
It's happening. And then Matty Evans came and production managed the whole thing and did the stage setup. And it's like a completely different world to the events industry, like private events, where it's all like lovely and, you know, it's brutal. And he turns up on his site and he's like, Robs, what's the accreditation? And I'm like, what do you mean by accreditation? He's like, well, your levels of accreditation, like who has access where? And he was like, you know, your GA, your AA, your AA, what was it? Artist liaison or artist escort or something. And I'm like,
oh my God.
What? And he was like, wristbands, Robyn. I'm gonna take it straight back down to wristbands. What are your wristbands? And I was like, I don't have wristbands. And he was like, you need wristbands. I was like,
yeah, I'm with you now.
Adds to like a long list of things I need to do. And then like big, like all the DJs, like managers and stuff were turning up, and they would be like,
it's another world as well, isn't it?
Well, I can't even begin to tell you like another world. But they would turn up and be like, who's the promoter? And I was like, I don't know who the promoter is. And they'd be like, well, there's got to be a promoter, like, you know, who's in charge? And I was like, well, I'm in charge.
Me?
Yeah. I was like, I'm the event manager. They were like, yeah, but who's the behind this? Because obviously it's like, if you're at a festival, it's like, We Are Festival is the promoter. Or like, I'm like, it's you. Hello.
Just me over here.
Yeah.
Doing all the things.
Just doing all the things. And then, yeah, it just went wild. I was on BBC News, ITV. We were in the New York Times.
Were you?
Forbes. It went wild. I think we were in 28 countries at one point.
That's fucking amazing.
It was insane. And we then extended it. We ran for 12 weeks, 8 events a week. So we did.
Sorry, this has all come off the back of your dad's line robot.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So then we did, I think Tuesdays and Thursdays were cinema nights. Wednesdays there was a kids show. Wednesdays and Saturdays were the kids show. Fridays was jazz in the afternoon for the oldies, and Friday nights were like live entertainment. So we had The Greatest Showman and Mamma Mia, and then Ibiza Orchestra, and then Saturdays was kids show, and then Saturday night was DJs, and Sunday was what was Sunday? Pub in the park. We basically did like a roast dinner. So I built my own kitchen. We had
amazing.
Like it was crazy. It was crazy.
Just to take it back and pause a second. So you know that you were like stressed out, needed a break. How did that go?
Yeah, not great. I absolutely drove myself so far into the ground. And, you know, it was so much because the day before we launched, Boris Johnson came out and said, okay, outdoor events can happen. And so we were the first to launch in the world, actually, technically. We were the first event in the world. But then every week there was a new, because we were so early on, there was then the one-way systems came in, and then the queuing systems came in with the dots on the floor. And then
this just reminds me of, do you remember all the memes? It was like, we're now in like, I don't know, level 512 or whatever it was.
But honestly, it was like that. And then the security had to be increased because of they came out with like a rule that it had to be like X amount of security per people that were there, because they had to be controlled to.
You had to stay so on top of all the guidelines.
And because the whole world was watching us. And also so many other festivals, because I popped out of nowhere and you have some big festival guys that just rolled over and gone, we can't do it. And then I'd gone, yoo-hoo, I can. So and they're like, who the fuck are you? And how have you managed to make it work? And we're watching you. Because if you mess up, we're on you. And the council was actually amazing with us. They were so on our side because it gave so many jobs, like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of jobs in hospitality where people had nothing. Anyone that was kind of, you know, on a 0-hour contract, screwed. So that was that. We lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of money.
Okay.
I invested personally into it.
Did you?
And it was just by 12 weeks in, and you're playing catch up each week, and like your invoices, and then your staffing, and and you get to that last week, and you're like, oh God, there's nothing else in the pot, and we've got that last week of invoices to pay.
Okay.
And everything was moving so fast that none of us could keep kind of like hold on it. And I'd gone into business. So we'd started a new business. So it was Goodman Pop Up. And I'd gone into business with 3 friends.
Okay.
One, the owner of Goodman Park, and 2 other. We all had our like strengths and weaknesses. So there was the owner of the venue. There was me, the event manager. There was the teepee company because I designed a teepee village as well. So for camping. And then there was a designer, the web designer, so for all the assets and everything else. So we kind of just threw ourselves at it between the 4 of us without being paid because we had the skill set across the 4 of us. Lo and behold, that didn't end well. Very well at all. But, you know.
As in financially or personally?
Both.
Okay.
Both. So it didn't make money, but we also did a massive thing and put the venue on the map. And my head then went into, okay, what's next? Okay, fireworks night. Let's do a drive-in fireworks. So we did a drive-in fireworks. Bam, that was pure profit.
Okay.
Straight away. Then I was like, Christmas. Let's do Christmas. And my business partner in Creative Events Collective, which is the Grotto, Amy, I'd met her. She's actually from the same hometown as me.
Okay.
And she contacted me when she saw Goodman Park pop up, and she was like, I have an entertainment company and I would love to be involved. I was like, perfect. So she did my Mamma Mia nights, my Greatest Showman nights, and some other kids things and bits and bobs. Then she came to me and she was like, I've got an idea for Christmas. How about we do a drive-in pantomime?
Bloody love this. I can't wait to talk about the Christmas mix. I'm an elf.
And I was like, yeah, cool. All right, let's do it. So she designed this bespoke pantomime, and it was hilarious. It was so funny. And then we partnered with the local radio station, and we had 250 cars a night.
Amazing.
In the auction mart, because there was no auctioning of cattle or whatever it is usually that's there. And we did, so everybody just tuned into the local radio, and then you could hear the
panto.
But the problem is that we'd scripted that instead of being like, boo, he's behind you, you beat the horn.
Okay.
And then like,
Oh.
250 cars beeping their horns
Did the council come
every
at you?
night. It wasn't necessarily, yeah, I mean, the council did come for us, but it was the locals. They were like, Facebook just went mental. It was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But it was like, because we'd said it that every time the baddie comes on stage, so it wasn't once.
Yeah.
It was like,
and they're used to complete and utter silence at this stage because nothing was going on in the world.
Well, complete and utter silence until our party nights on a Saturday.
Oh, okay, fine.
Sorry, Goodman.
Can I just say that, you know, in your local area, people were well and truly sorted. Like, we didn't have any of this where I was. Like,
no,
you
like,
literally, it's just brilliant.
They, like, literally, we welcomed 50,000 people in the summer, socially distanced, to the festival. And it was an amazing achievement. And it was probably the best summer of my life. Like, we were living in a staff house. I would go home for a Sunday roast on a Sunday because I was like this thin because I was just eating like 4 tater tots a day.
Running yourself into the ground.
Oh, yeah. Like, full on, like, burnout. But having a great time in COVID when not many other people were.
Yeah.
So we did the driving pantomime, and then we were the first to do a socially distanced Santa's Grotto. So I figured out a way, and I read all of the legislation. I was like, what is next? And it was like, okay, you could have an event that was 50% covered and 50% open.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, open-sided teepees.
Yeah.
And it all had to be one-way systems, and you had to have your wash points and your blah, 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 blah.
And
And
those joyful things.
Oh, God. So, and when it was outside, you didn't have to wear a mask. At Christmas, they'd removed that.
Yeah.
So we designed a one-way system, Santa's Grotto, where you checked in, you got your letter. You then went to the bar where you could get a hot chocolate and a face painting. Then you went out to the fire pits to write your letter to Santa. Then you looped round to then meet the reindeers, which we purchased.
Oh, my goodness.
And then you went to the last TP, and that was Santa's Grotto. And Amy did the Santa and the elves. And that was our Christmas. And we did a social distance Christmas market, one-way system. I mean, honestly, my brain just needs to stop. So yeah, so that was that. Then I launched a second festival because I'm an absolute psychopath. So the following summer, we then launched another festival in the south in Bedfordshire, but we level up. And at this point, I partner with Josh, who is one of my best friends, wedding at Uridge.
Oh, okay.
So he was my business partner. So he brought the catering side and the staffing side. I brought the event. And then we also partnered with Sam Mooney, who is just awesome. He used to work for Defected. We then all did this together. And now he's like creative director of Ushuaia High, all of that universe. And so he's killing it massively. Very proud of both of my boys. But we decided to do another version of the Social Distance Festival, but south.
Okay.
And we had an amazing glamping village. We built a swimming pool with a swim up to bar.
Oh, wow.
We built a restaurant on the river that was like the festival food was the best festival food ever.
We had like as well.
Steak and chips and again it was all table service.
Okay.
So again, Moet sponsored, and it was awesome. But then it flooded.
Oh no.
Because we weren't told that it was on a floodplain.
Oh no.
So £1 million festival. So we had to close.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So we closed two of our 5 weekends.
Oh shit.
So we lost money. And again, we had a business partner in that. And God, I would love to write a handbook of how to go into business with business partners, because
God, yes.
Seriously, the burn is so intense. Read your fucking contracts. Seriously.
And pick your people. I mean, I understand this one.
Yeah. It's just, it's so hard because you think at the time, like everyone's friends, and, oh my God, this is amazing. And then you're not. And then it's not very nice. And actually like having contracts in place that actually are balanced and protect both sides then becomes the most important thing.
Yeah.
What is your role? What is your responsibility? And if you are putting more money in, what does that mean? Should you have had a share transfer or, you know, all of these things that I didn't know. So I'm just refunding, like fund, and then removed illegally. That was Gisborne.
Shit.
Yeah, bad. It's really bad. However, nothing will ever, ever, ever be as bad as that. I will never,
it's a very good mindset and approach to take on it all.
And like, especially Josh and I, we are so close and we run our businesses in such a similar way with the same values and the same way that we treat our teams. And you know, even when times are tougher or we've taken a risk and we've invested in something, we're waiting for it to pay off and we're thinking, oh my God, look at the bank balance. And then bam, an invoice is paid and you're like, remain calm. We are okay.
We're still here. It's fine.
We can do payroll. Honestly, what we went through, and I mean, we had suppliers threatening us.
Wow.
Yeah. It was intense because, again, we were in the festival world.
Yeah.
So you are dealing with security companies. You are dealing with not level-headed necessarily people. And it was horrific. But one of the business partners from the estate, he taught us that debt can be your friend.
Okay.
Which was one of the most interesting things I think any of us took away from that experience. We ended up paying everybody back. We worked it out. We worked out ways, and and we got there. It cost us a lot of money, but we just wanted to stay true to our company and our name, and like we just wanted to make sure that everyone was paid. But understanding that even when it comes to like your banks and everything else, like being squeaky clean and having a load of profit doesn't help you out.
No.
Which is a really different mindset to kind of like think about when you're going into business, is like, don't be afraid to take out a loan and pay it back because it puts your credit rating up. And then you can get a credit card.
Yep.
And I'm not saying get yourself into debt, but I'm just saying leveraging yourself to like go up to the next step, or maybe deck out the office like you wanted to do, or take on a project that might not be quite as good for you, but it's going to be really good for the long term. And you might need a bit of cash flow.
Yeah. Investing isn't actually a bad thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also I think I learnt very much the hard way that you should never, ever, ever take investment and give up percentage of your business for working capital. Never, ever. Because you get past that. Now, if you're wanting to expand, if you're wanting to grow, if you're wanting to do something, sure, take investment and be in business with people that believe in you and your brand, and it's worth giving up a piece of the crown jewels, as I call them.
Yeah.
Because you can't get that back very easily. So there has to be a reason for that business partner to be in the business. And if it's just for working capital and they've taken a percentage in your business, go and get a loan and pay a really high interest rate. Because in the long run, the 10%, 20%, 30%, 40% that you give away in your business for what seems like a lot of money at that time, in 5, 6, 7 years' time, it will be worth nothing, because you'll never be able to buy them out, because their shares will be worth 5 times what they bought in for.
Yeah.
So that's another learning curve. There was many, many learning curves during this time. And then
but that's all going to contribute to your success, isn't it? Well?
100%. And now like the way that, and then off the back of all of that, the world, was coming slowly but surely coming back. There was murmurs of maybe travel corridors opening. And then 2 old clients of mine, but very, very good friends, contacted me. They lived in Hong Kong. Did their 50th birthday, and just great guys. Contacted me and they were like, when the boom comes back, it's going to be massive and we want to be a part of it. And we want to invest. And I was like, okay, great. Because at this point I was financially depleted. Anything that I had in savings or whatever else, like gone.
Yeah.
Sayonara. I was heading into a legal dispute with one of them. You could probably guess which one.
Yep.
Which was costing me a fortune. But again, I was like, hang on a minute, this is crazy. And I kind of was like, okay, I'm ready to go back into my world, because this world is so hectic.
As in festivals.
Oh,
yeah.
Someone said to me the other day.
You're not selling it to me. I
No,
won't
don't,
lie.
don't. I honestly, someone actually said to me the other day, they were like, oh my God, are you going to do a festival again? I was like, over my dead body. Genuinely, never again. It is carnage.
Really?
Like, kudos to anyone that continues to do festivals, because
I mean, it sounds it. It sounds it.
I mean, it
But
just
amazing.
yeah.
Props to you. But
so then that was when Encore was born. And so that is the kind of route of the entrepreneur journey, which has been fruitful. Let me tell you that for free.
Yeah, but I mean, God, what a journey. You have learned and pulled from so many different facets, which just makes you stronger and more knowledgeable and experienced.
Exactly. And I think that's what I wanted to put into Encore is, right, let's learn from the coffee shop, the swimming pool, the rugby club, you know, every single movement that I've made. What did I love about that job? What did I love about a manager? What did I not like about a manager? When did I feel really devalued? You know, as a human, as such, like in a job that I was trying to give my all. And why was that? Was that just someone just being a bit of a bully because they were older than me? Probably. Or was I just being a little shit and actually like throw my weight around and they were trying to put me down? Whatever it was, I kind of tried to map everything down on a piece of paper. And then I started working with my amazing friend Catherine and she works with businesses, and she was like, right, if we're going to do this, you need to learn your values. I was like, what are values? And we spent 3.5 months working through my values. And it took Zoom call after Zoom call, like 4-hour Zoom calls. And Catherine is a family friend, but she's also one of the most talented women in that field of work.
Okay.
And she manages to pull information out of you like you didn't even believe. And we'd just sit and talk, and she'd ask me these like questions and like, you know, if this happened, how did that make you feel as a manager? And I was like, and she was like, okay. And then she mapped out all of these things. And then we found these like 5 areas that were like the key areas of what makes me tick, essentially. And it's all around kind of like honesty. You know, if someone lies to me, you are dead to me. You are out. Like I can't get past it. And like, I'm all for, if you've done something wrong, fucking tell me, because I can sort it out. If I can deal with a festival,
I relate so hard to this.
I'm like, if I can deal with a festival flooding and being threatened by security for payment, like I can deal with the fact that you might have just like, you know, done a formula wrong in a spreadsheet. Like seriously.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we're trained to continually contingency plan. So we do it on events. So I've really kind of tried to instill that in my team. Like, I'm not expecting you to be perfect, and you will make mistakes, but just raise your hand and own it.
Own it.
And, you know, it was really interesting going through this process of the values, because at the time I had actually hired somebody, and it was one of these things that you start going through this and you're like,
It's really hard hiring.
Oh no, because actually they're not aligned with my values. And there's quite a few things that actually like pang my anxiety. And I'm like, my anxiety now, I call it my superpower. So I didn't have it, now I have it. It's like well managed now, thanks to my life coach and therapists. Peace to them for bringing me back to life. But it's my superpower, because when I do get that pang, something is not right. And I listen to it now instead of being like
that gut feeling.
Shut up. I'm now like, ooh, no, what's my spidey senses saying? What's going on here? So that's what I've tried to then do with Encore. And, you know, we're building something special in that we're building a team that is a family, that we're all aligned, and our freelancers are treated like the full-time family. Even though they're not full-time, they are treated. So they come to our summer parties, they come to our team away days, they come to nights out, they come to everything, because I don't want them to feel like they are the freelancer. I want them to feel like when they step into the Encore house, that it is their home too, even if it is for 1 day a week. And I think, creating like a space where we all actually want to go to the office and we want to turn up and we want to do these things and we want to work together and we want to socialize together. That was what I wanted to gain out of kind of doing it. And we've successfully done that.
I mean, you can tell how passionate you are about that culture. And I really want to dive into that actually.
Yeah.
But just for our listeners, can you share what Encore, sort of what you do at the heart of Encore, just so that they understand the business?
Yeah.
And then let's definitely dive into the culture and those sort of values.
So Encore is travel, events and concierge. So we do multi-million-pound parties around the world. Multi-million-pound travel trips for clients, whether it's a week, a month, and then the concierge is the ticketing, the access, the behind the scenes, the
lifestyle that you kind of.
It's exactly that.
You
So I went back to what that was, and we were 2.5, 3 years post that, and the whole industry changed. The whole landscape of the industry changed 100%. When we got back after COVID, and by then I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like I'm ready to go back to what I was bloody good at,
but on your own terms.
On my own terms. And only working with clients that we want to work with, not that we're only working with because it makes the business money. Because my time is precious and my mental health is precious.
Number one.
It's number one, because if I'm dealing with a client that is completely ruining me, then it will impact the team. And if it's then ruining them, I'm basically rewriting history of exactly what I went through.
Yeah.
And I just won't allow that to happen. So that's Encore. Creative Events Collective was then born from Amy contacting me the year after we did our social distance Santa Grotto, which was so cold, by the way. I wouldn't advise doing an open air Santa Grotto in the north in December. It was Baltic. And she contacted me and said, the tender for Trafford Centre's come up for the Santa Grotto.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And we'd just done that summer a £4.5 million event in Lake Como. And I gave my team in August work from anywhere in the world. Another thing that I had and I'm sure you probably had it, was you would work May, June, July. You'd miss your friends' birthdays. You would miss key family engagements or whatever it was. And you worked every weekend and you were broken. And then it came to August and all the directors took the time off, and so you had to be in the office. And I used to hate it because the phone didn't ring. It was hot outside. We didn't have air conditioning. And I was like, why are we here?
Yeah.
And that was obviously before the whole work from home situation was like a thing. But that's one of my things is, as long as we don't have any events, then
I saw that on your socials actually.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it's great. So simple, and it's such an easy win. It doesn't cost the business any money. It just gives the team that breathing space from when we've been so on top of each other because we're traveling or we've got an event or you're doing this or you're working late. And it's just like, if you don't have work to fill your full 8 hours, cool, that's okay. I'm not going to be on your back.
As long as everything's done.
Correct.
And
as long as I get an update of what everyone's been working on and I can see, then I'm happy. And then we also brought in this year summer hours, which I gave them the option, which they all said, yeah. I was like, do you want to work an extra hour Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then take a half day on Fridays? And they said, yeah.
I love that.
And it's nice. Like obviously sometimes there was a bit of extra hours that they had to do, but it's giving them the autonomy and the flexibility to kind of like run their own life.
And then they're going to be happier to work for you.
Yeah.
They're going to want to give you their all.
Exactly. But the funny thing is come September 1st, everyone's like, can't wait to get back to the office.
Oh, nice.
Because it's like going back to school.
Yeah.
And it's like you've had your time. We have an international team, and it just means like Emma can go back to her family in Lithuania without using holiday to do it.
Yeah.
And that's really key for me because at the age that the team are, like you want to be using your holidays to go to festivals and like your first friend's holiday to Ibiza or whatever it is, like to go and see your family, but use up your your holidays.
Yeah.
It's difficult. And I remember, my parents being in the north. And that was always a bit of a bone of contention because they were like, when are you going to come and see us? And I was like, oh, I'm away this weekend. I'm doing this. And
it's difficult.
Yeah. So creative events, basically, we won the contract for the Trafford Centre. We did the Grotto. Last year, we won the contract for Dubai Mall. So we've expanded. So the side hustle became a global business. And now we're in talks with potentially launching London this year. And then next year,
That's very exciting.
Saudi, Hong Kong, Singapore, Bahrain, Cairo. So watch this space. I'm taking Santa global.
How do you manage all of these things?
Team.
Team. So talk to me about team and hiring and building a culture that people are happy to kind of be in, because from running my own company, I find finding the right team really hard.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to be as passionate as you are.
Yeah.
Nobody is you. And just finding the right fit is really tricky. And not everybody wants to work that hard, I've also found.
No, and I think...
What are your tips?
What are my tips?
Share with us.
My tips are, you don't always need to go looking in the right place. So you don't always need to go fishing in the same pond that everyone else is fishing in, because you end up probably paying over the odds for somebody because they are in the industry, they have the experience, etc. Now, experience is key, but in terms of my whole ethos is about growing people through the business from bottom up, because that's how I started. When I was 19 at Johnny Roxburgh, I was doing the cutlery. You know, I was a waitress.
Okay.
And I was still in the office, but on events, I was the bottom of the pile. And it took me the year to make my way up to event manager. And then I was more prominent in the office. You know, like you've got to nurture talent and bring them through the ranks with you, because then that's when you see where they tick.
And that's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
As a business owner, because you actually have to give them your time to help nurture them.
100%.
When you're busy, that's quite tricky too, isn't it?
I think also the thing that I always say to my team all the time, like, there isn't a ceiling. You know, don't feel like, one, you're stuck in this role forever. Two, that's as far as you can go. Like, there is infinite possibilities of where you can go in the business. And by giving that kind of, you know, non-ceiling, it's really interesting to see where they take that. So Emma, who is my little protege, she started straight from university, no experience in events. Okay. She'd done fashion PR at university, and she started, and she was office manager and social media. And that girl has had more promotions. It actually makes quite emotional thinking about her. She's just amazing. And like, if you know, there's so much bad press as such about the Gen Z era. But if you tune into them and like you actually hear them and figure out like what makes them tick, you know, one thing that we have is flexi hours. So we are 10 till 6, but they have full autonomy to come in 2 hours before or 2 hours after.
Okay.
They don't have to tell me I don't care. Do not feel like you have to message me to be like, my train's running late. Because the anxiety that I used to get, having that, walking into an office and being like, she's late. And I was just like
the devil wears Prada.
Yeah. And I could have been working till 3 a.m. the night before on an event. And it's like, who cares? Like, I'm probably going to be here till 11 p.m. So if I turn up at 9:30 a.m., who cares? So I think that's a massive, you know, that allows my team to work when they want to work. So Ellis turns in at 8, Angel soon after, and then Emma is a bit later after that. But when they might have a night out on a Friday or a Thursday and they get in at 8, they get to finish early. Or if they want to go to Pilates before the office, sure, no worries. Come in at what? I don't care. Just do your 8 hours. And I think as soon as you shift from being like the dictator and being the understanding and just giving them some autonomy, doesn't matter if they are Gen Z, doesn't matter if they're 23, giving them the autonomy to run their life how they want to run it, instead of being like, these are your hours, and if you're late, you're going to be disciplined. It doesn't work anymore.
No.
It does not work in this day and age. it's so restrictive, and you end up not getting the best out of your team. Like, if you're hungover, I don't want you in at 9.
Yeah.
Take those extra 2 hours because
Come
I'm going to
back,
get better out of
actually,
you.
yeah.
Like, I think that's the other thing. It's like, come to a level with it. You know, they also have a hall pass, that I call it, which is a card that they can throw down once a month, which is a work from home card. I don't need any explanation. They can have 24 hours notice for giving it me. So if they know they're going on a night out and they need it, or if they're going on a holiday and actually they want to work their 8 till 4, but they're at home with their suitcase packed and then they're off on the flight.
Yeah.
Cool. No worries. Or they've got someone coming around to do their dish, like, whatever.
As long as the work's done.
Exactly.
Again, it just comes back to that, doesn't it?
I don't
care. Yeah.
So I think that has kind of been like the main driver. But like going back to Em, you know, she didn't necessarily know what route she wanted to go. And I think because the business is kind of, you've got 3 routes, it's like, take your pick. It's watching them make that decision and watching them thrive in an area that they might not have thought that they could thrive in. So Em started as the office manager in social media. She then became a lifestyle manager, a lifestyle assistant. And then, because that's where she was kind of heading in terms of like the travel trips and the organization and doing the presentations. She's amazing at the presentations and turning them around. But then she showed some real interest in the event side of things. And actually the presentations and the creative, while she's still doing all the socials, I could see this kind of amazing side that was creative coming out of her. And so we sit down and we talk about it. Where do you want to go with this? And what do you want to do with this? And then Ellis has joined, and actually he's full travel. So actually, let's take that away from you and let's see how you sit in the event side. And the creative, doing the mood boards, finding the textures, the plates, the cutlery, pulling together the elements, making beautiful presentations. And that's where she thrives.
I love that.
And
so you're giving them that
I'm
flex.
giving them the flex, because I'm like, nothing is set in stone. And also, there will be a day where Em needs to jump onto travel and Ellis needs to jump onto events. So nothing is set in stone.
That's the beauty of a small business,
Exactly.
isn't it? You have to wear several hats. Everyone does.
Got to be flexible. You know, Angel, my PA, I've never had a PA until Angel came, my actual Angel. But again, you know, I didn't know what I needed in a PA. And Angel didn't know how much, or like, you know, so there was a bit of a kind of communication of, because I didn't know how much to give up, or
and that's quite hard, isn't it?
That horrible thing of oh my god, OCD control. And then, you know, again, it's understanding what our needs are, understanding what she enjoys doing, understanding where her strengths lie. And you know, she hadn't done many spreadsheets and things. Now I'm a spreadsheet queen. There's a spreadsheet for everything. There's a template for everything. Everything's branded.
I'm here for that.
Everything has a find a place or whatever. But
and are you anal with the spreadsheet? Like, it has to be color coded, perfect?
Oh, they're all templated,
formatted. Okay,
they're all templated. Love. Literally to like the Pantone reference color, even on a Google sheet.
Yes, fabulous.
Yeah, and they are duplicated across to the next one, so they all look the same.
Yep, amazing.
But things like Angel's actually taken really well to doing Google Sheets and organizing these things. So now when it comes to our abroad events and travel trips, she's now putting all of the staff travel into Google Sheets, into documents with budgets and everything else. And you know, we could never have written that. Like you just don't know until you try it and you see if it works. And if it doesn't work, you keep training and you keep trying. And, you know, Angel, we've just hired Tessa as our first employer in Creative Events Collective. And Angel's now just trained Tessa.
Okay.
And that was a really amazing moment for me to see, you know, where she's come from. She's training Tessa on spreadsheets when she started the business, and that she didn't really know what to do with that. And you can just see the growth plan of, you know, where they're going with it. And I'm a firm believer that, you know, for someone to be in the position where Emma trained Angel, Emma trained Ellis, and Angel's now training Tessa. Like, that shows that you are instilling into your team, you know, work ethic, but also the company standards, your branding. Robyn likes this, don't do this. She'll hate it if you use black. Oh my God, don't do that. The cell size is too long. Oh my God, it's too deep. No. It's not
so
formatted wrong.
I'm so glad it's not just me.
Yeah. Like, it's like a whole thing for me. But, you know, and then seeing Angel take her skills that she's learned and she's learning, she's clearly thriving in it to be able to then train. And Em doing the same thing, training Ellis on presentations. And then, you know, with Phil and Ree, the seniors, they then are also training Em. So there's this really amazing, you know, that's when you step back from the business and I'm like, God, I've hired somebody in a different one of my businesses, but one of my team from Encore has trained the team member in creative events, which has saved me time.
It's a family.
Yeah. And it is. And now Tessa is like, so I know in my contract it says that, you know, I'll have a few days in the London office. So when can I come? And I'm like, whenever you want.
Nice.
And so she wants to come down from the north and spend some days in the office and learn some more about spreadsheets and things. And I think that is what I'm trying to achieve. I'm wanting people to want to come to work because it's enjoyable.
You can hear the passion in you.
It's a big thing for me.
What would you say are the most important values that you want to instill in your company culture?
So my most important values is trust and honesty. It's about always excelling. So it's always, you know, doing better as such. And I'm a bit of a stickler with that because I set a target and they hit it and I'm like, cool, I'm going to push you again. And I push until they can go. And if that's where they sit, then brilliant. Not everybody needs to go all the way. But I will keep pushing until I find that thing. And, you know, buckle in, because if you prove yourself to me, I'll go again and I'll keep going. And I think that's what, you know, from the office culture to an event culture. So if you take that attitude from being in the office and pushing yourself to then being on site and, you know, long hours and it's that last hour and it's like you dig deep and you're finding something within you, but you've got it. And you know that if you get through this, then we've absolutely nailed this. Like, we have completed this. And it's also about thinking 10 steps ahead of the client, 10 steps ahead of me, 10 steps ahead of the business needs, and 10 steps ahead of the team. So we're all protecting each other. So if we see that one team member is down, cool. You go and sort that out, remove, take some time out. We've got this.
It's like a relationship.
It is
like
a relationship.
Marriage. This is the conversations that me and my husband have. Like,
100%.
I'm at 20% today. I need you to step up to 80.
100%. And we had a scenario where we were brought in as an emergency wedding planners for a wedding in Lake Como, 4 weeks out. And
oh, Christ.
Yeah. And we were going to have to still be working with the planner that was. And I knew we were going into a fire.
That's like, a thing.
Yeah. And we'd just had a massive summer. We'd done this huge event in Mykonos, and the team were on the floor. And I knew that it required seniors only. And I remember when, you know, I put in a good fee for it because I was also on holiday when it came through, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to just change everything. Anyway, it was agreed. And I was like, for the business, I have to say yes, but for my team, I don't. So I'd factored into that fee that none of my team would come.
So you could pull. Yeah.
And I think that's really important, is knowing your team and understanding when they're at the limit and not pushing them past it. Because if you push them past it, you've lost them. They're gone. Yeah. They'll leave. And so I made the decision and I told them all, you're not coming.
You have such respect for your team, don't you? And that clearly is that must be one of your values, really.
Yeah, it is.
They respect you clearly because you respect
always
them.
Is one of the values.
There you go. And you do.
And I think, and I think because I respect them, they respect me. So when I actually call on something that is, you know, last minute or, God, this is going to be brutal. You know, we did an event the other weekend and the caterer, I mean, just didn't really do much. And so I was scraping plates and me and the girls we were literally, I was like, oh my God, this has been years since I've done this. And we're
Kudos
wiping
to you though, because there are people in the industry that will say that is beyond me.
Yeah. But, you know,
sometimes you just have to do what you got to do.
Sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't enjoyable and it wasn't great. And then the caterers, they'd asked me to do all their hire and they'd left everything out. They hadn't sacked it all. So we were doing it and we were knackered.
Yeah, I bet.
But again, in that scenario, I could tell that it was like, right, we're not meant to have finished. We're meant to be finishing in 2 hours. And we had two of the bar guys from Kalon and Opus. And I was like, right, guys, there is a train at 5:50. If we can get all of this done, we can finish early. Let's go. And again, it's like in that moment, it's like, what is going to make everyone tick? It's a Saturday. That means that they're getting home 2 hours earlier than we'd planned to.
Let's band
so
together.
Let's do this and get out of here. And I think me and Ree were actually talking about this the other day. And it's like the old school mentality was, you just kept working. And actually you almost like slowed down into the D-rig because you knew it was going to be long.
Yeah.
Whereas now I see from my team the value of time and the value of like, if they're not busy on site, they're like, what next? What's my job? And the first few times I was like, ooh. But now I'm like, no, fair. Because why should you be wasting your Saturday sat in the back room, not doing anything?
Yeah, it's pointless.
It is pointless. And so it, you know, great, let's pack up. Let's start loading the cars. Let's do this, let's do that. Let's move. So the moment that I, you know, or they can go earlier, or if I have to wait for the client or whatever, it's done. Yeah. They're gone. So yeah, I think it's from learning so much over the years, being burnt so much over the years, and always feeling, you know, the last one there, moving hay bales and moving bin bags, and all the seniors have gone. And you're like,
great.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I've also worked the same hours.
Yeah.
And I'm just, you know, I don't want that, because I want my team to stay. And I think that's the thing in the industry is the turnover is so high.
It really is.
And people don't really stay for longer than a year in most companies. You have a few key people that, you know, will stay on, but
they get burnt out young and early, don't they?
And either they leave the industry or they go and set up their own company. And so we're just saturated with these event planners that are popping up left, right and centre because they've been burnt by companies. So they're like, fuck that. I'll do it myself and I won't be burnt.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't need to be like this, guys.
If you
actually nurture your teams, you'll have incredible talent, senior talent that will make your life easier as a CEO, and your team are thriving. And I think that I had, like last year, my Catherine and my Marie, my HR, who are amazing. They're like a dream team together. We do away days every January with them.
Nice.
Yes, with the whole team, and we do all of these activities, and it came out and it was like everybody needed more time with me, and everybody.
Okay.
But actually, I was doing too much of the actual event work, the budgets, and I couldn't let go of it because I was the event manager. I've always been the event producer, the senior event producer, the event director, How can I be the CEO? And I think that's like the change when you go from starting a business and there's you and one other person, you're still doing it.
100%.
And
you had to step into different
shoes.
Then
all of a sudden, I was having to step into a new shoe. And then Marie and Catherine were having, you know, they had to be like, right, team, this is how you're going to allow Robyn to become the CEO. And so for a whole year, we had this whole thing of like becoming the CEO. Nope. Is that a job for you or is that a job for Emma? Nope. Is that a job for you or is that a job for Angel? Or is that for Ellis? And I'm like,
that's hard.
Okay, fine. I'll give that one over. And then all of a sudden these things are just happening and they're doing, and I don't have to think about them. And there are systems and processes in place, and I can now be the CEO.
I love that.
And I think that is when you can really fly the business. Because if you're so in the
Trenches.
Yeah. Like, still in your budget, still
Yeah.
in your presentation, still in all of that, you're not going anywhere.
Mm.
Like it's just not gonna grow at all. So yeah.
Respect.
You're like, tell me how.
Respect.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. I have so many takeaways from this conversation. So many takeaways, obviously around company culture and just respecting that team so that they respect you and that honesty and trust. But also how your journey, it's not an overnight success.
Nope.
There are bumps in the road. There are
two failed
failures.
businesses. Yeah.
I don't see them as failures,
No.
but failures that, you have to learn from. And I think, anyone listening to this, they need to take hold of that and realise that, it doesn't happen overnight and you have to learn.
No. And also don't be put off if you fail.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's quite a lot of people have said this to me. They're like, fucking hell, Robs, like you were battered down and then battered down again and you went again.
Quit, but you did it again.
You went again. Yeah. And then you launched another business, like psycho.
No, that's a true entrepreneur.
But you have to change your mindset into failure to becoming a positive. And I looked at, the money that I'd lost, hundreds of thousands, I'm talking, as that was my personal marketing budget. Because I was on ITV, I was on BBC, I was in Forbes, I was in New York Times. So if it cost me $100,000 for that headline, okay, well that was my marketing budget for the year.
I love that mindset.
So there's always a way that you can spin it, basically.
Absolutely. Failure is all part of success in my mind. I come from a sports background.
Yeah.
So, and to get to where I got to in sport, for example, you're failing all the time.
Yeah.
You're constantly failing until you're winning.
Yeah.
And I think there's a big connection between sport and entrepreneurship and business.
Well,
it's the same thing.
I mean, that's why I did so many sports when I was younger. Yeah. And it was all about winning. And if you weren't winning, if you weren't getting your PB, if you weren't that, you've got to try harder.
Yeah.
But you didn't swim well enough, Robyn. Or you didn't
take that. I mean, clearly you've taken a lot of that.
Put it into definitely as well. But yeah, I think the failure thing is a massive. And I think there's this whole TikTok culture now of like, be your own CEO, run your own company. And then people are like, oh, I haven't made a sale. Or my big company that I've launched using AI to basically write my content and do all my photos hasn't taken off, and I haven't got loads of bookings. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, if it did, everyone would be very rich.
Yeah,
and I think it's just be patient. Just be really patient. And if it doesn't work out, you've got to keep going.
Yeah.
It takes 3 years for a business to be past the entrepreneur stage.
What's Winston Churchill saying? If you're in the trenches, keep going.
Keep going. Yeah. And it is true. You just, until you pass that 3-year mark, you are still a startup.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're still not going to be rolling in it and successful unless you've hit jackpot, which is like a 1% of businesses. And especially in our industry, that ain't going to happen.
Always learning.
Always
learning. Right, I think we're going to have to wrap it there. But
perfect.
I have really, really enjoyed this conversation, and your whole journey is just very inspirational. I think our listeners are going to absolutely love diving into this episode.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much for having me. Loved it. Sorry for blabbing on.
Oh, no, it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of In the Making. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, because I really, really did. And I have so many takeaways myself. Do all the things, please, to support the podcast, and make sure you're following and subscribing and liking and commenting, because we love that. And then we'll keep bringing you lots of fabulous episodes. We will link all the things for Robyn in the description to the podcast, and I will see you on the next episode.